Everyone, today we have a battle between Israel and the Philistines. The Philistines drew up in line against Israel, and when the battle was joined, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 men in the field of battle. When the troops came to the camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why has the Lord put us to rout today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the covenant of the Lord here from Shiloh, so that he may come among us and save us from the power of the enemies." So the people sent to Shiloh and brought from there the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts, who is enthroned upon the cherubim. The two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God. So the Philistines fought. Israel was defeated, and they fled, everyone to their home. There was a very great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, died. Well, this doesn't make sense, right? I thought God, the God of Israel, was always going to help them win because they're his chosen nation. What's the point of having the Lord on your side? That doesn't mean you're always going to win a victory. What we see here is that God actually doesn't take sides. The big picture of Scripture, you can find verses that seem to say different things, but the big picture is that God blesses Israel so that God can bless the entire world. That's the whole point of them being chosen. It's not about them, it's still about everybody. And you even see in the rest of the story, the Philistines, they know the story. They know who the Lord is. They talk about what happened in the Exodus. But unfortunately for Israel, that just makes them more courageous and helps them win. So we see here that God definitely cannot be used as a weapon against our enemies. All right, that's how they're using the ark here. The ark is like God's throne. And so God's presence is understood as there in a special way. It's not quite idolatry, but it's about as close as you could get. And what happens, the losses they suffer after they do this are 7 times worse than what happened in the beginning. So this may not seem like it applies much to us, but do we think that God is on the side of our nation at times? How do we use God as a tool to excuse ungodly actions? Israel at least was told that it was chosen. That's something that we kind of try to choose for ourselves. Instead, what we see today, or should see, is that the church is God's true chosen people, making the idea really of a Christian nation impossible, because God's nation, in a sense, is made up of people from every tribe and tongue and language, as the New Testament says. And so let's avoid the tragedies of this story and in our own history. Assuming that God is on our side is dangerous, but asking whether or not we're on God's side, that is wisdom.